think that a person had to die in order for me to live. I'm not talking about Jesus Christ now. I'm talking about people like us here. Heart transplant. Now, it's not a kidney transplant. Kidney transplant is we all have the two, so you kind of give one, you know? Heart transplant, you could just no wait, the other person could live. Then I had to wait on that person to die for me to live. That thought I don't know how to describe to this day. And the only way for me to be able to give back is to rise up. God expects only one thing from man. Only one thing, that is for us to rise up. You know, it's hard to rise up when you have failed. It's so hard to rise up when we are addicted to something. It's hard to rise up when we're born into so-called no getting out of kind of place. But we can all do it because we are not alone. And our Lord Jesus Christ showed us the way. He was mocked. He was ridiculed. His friends denied him. He even died. But what did he do? He rose up. He rose up. He rose up from grave to heaven. And he showed us the way. He rose to show us how to rise up. So today, with the power that we have in our Lord Jesus Christ, may you look yourself in the mirror and make some change in your life. And I pray that God will help you to see yourself in the mirror, not just who you are now, today, but what you can become and how God made you to be.
Brian was doing something about running the sound and putting the sound through the microphone.
And may His wonderful name be glorified through your looking in the mirror.
Sure, did that?
You having a good time? Yeah. All right. Welcome. Thank Pastor Tim. It's our senior pastor here at CBC. And I've been blessed to travel every Sunday here several times a week to CBC. It's a beautiful church. Amen. People have a compassionate hearts, and we definitely welcome all. There's someone here that does not have a church that they belong to. We have service here every Sunday at 11 a.m. But without any further delay, I'm going to read what's here about this gentleman that I don't really like too much. His name is Scott Charles. I'm going to read what's on this paragraph. I know he's going to get me for that, but let me read what's here on page 8. Scott Charles, a good friend of mine at Temple University, is a trauma outreach coordinator for Temple University Hospital in Philadelphia, and is a co-director of Temple University Cradle to the Grave Project, a hospital-based violence prevention and intervention program. He has spent nearly 20 years working with at-risk youth and has spoken nationally about the use of service learning in urban school settings. In 2008, Scott was one of 10 Americans to receive the prestigious Robert Wood Johnson Community Health Leaders Award. All right. He is also a past winner of the American Cities Foundation's Men Making a Difference Award. His work with Philadelphia public school students has been featured on NBC's The Today Show and what's NPR, brother? National Public Radio. Thank you. Morning edition. He received his BA in psychology from the University of Pennsylvania in 2000. Let's welcome, without any further delay, my good friend, Scott Charles.
How are you folks doing? Good. I'm really honored to be here. Can you hear me okay?
No.
Is this okay?
No.
No?
Turn on.
Alright. Better? It's alright?
A little higher, a little closer.
Ben asked me to come out to this church, and I had no idea. I'm not from Philadelphia. I'm not from this area at all, I'm from California. And Ben gave me these cockamamie directions. Something about as the eagle flies to make a right at the big rock or something. And I got out here, I think then I was, 45 minutes late. And I don't know what I had in my mind, but you know how we have these preconceived ideas, we stereotypes. So I got out here, and here were all these young Asian men in the audience. And I said, I must have made a wrong turn. And then they sat there patiently listening to me talk about violence in Philadelphia. And then at the end of it, they asked the most poignant question that I may have ever been asked in my time talking about violence in Philadelphia. And then they got up there with their instruments, and I'd never felt more at home any place in my life as I felt here. It's funny how God works, because when I started working, and I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but when I started working at Temple, I immediately was thrown into a life of encountering violence. I worked with the trauma team there at Temple. Temple University Hospital treats more gunshot patients than any other hospital in the state of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I would go back to my desk after these sad stories. I'd see small kids being shot and killed. I'd see mothers and wives being shot and killed. And I'd go to my desk sometimes and admittedly sit down and cry. And I remember telling my boss, Dr. Amy Goldberg, at the time, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, because I come from a background of education. I'm not used to all this grief. And I said, how do you believe in God when you see the kinds of things that we see? And she said to me, this little Jewish woman said, how do you not believe in God when you see the miracles we do here at this hospital? See, you hear the surgeons have God complexes, but I'm not sure that it's not so much about having a God awareness. I suddenly realized that maybe my purpose was to be there at Temple, given the circuitous route that I had taken in getting there. The only reason I ended up at Temple is I made a phone call one day when doing the service learning project, and was put in contact with this intense little lady, Dr. Amy Goldberg, who immediately set out to steal me away from the organization that I'd been working with. And she called me so often at the house and asked me to come join her trauma team that my wife thought I might have been having an affair with this woman. And I had to reassure that this woman seemed to have a purpose for me. A lot has changed since I was here last year. It's been mentioned, I won the Robert Wood Johnson Community Health Award. And really that says far less about me than it does about the fantastic people that I work with, the people who need me in the communities that I come from. And I'm kind of self-conscious about winning this award, because I probably feel better if I can stand before you and say that we've gotten rid of violence in Philadelphia, but that's not the case. We've certainly decreased the number of homicides, but the shootings continue to be extremely high. And the one thing that I'll say has changed in this time is that I'm asked to talk more and more about this epidemic that's plaguing us in Philadelphia. In fact, last year I was talking to a man named Father Greg Boyle. I don't know if any of you know who Father Boyle is, but he runs an organization in LA called Homeboy Industries. And Homeboy Industries takes Latino gang members and gets them out of the gangs and provides them with the tools necessary that they might become entrepreneurs, or at least skilled in what they do. And this is a man I had seen on 60 Minutes and Dateline, and now I'm sitting having breakfast with this man, and I thought, this is so bizarre. And we're talking about what it's going to take to change the young men in these neighborhoods, and I was complaining about the fact that the state of Pennsylvania is taking away this $1.3 million project that we run at Temple that helps provide resources to young gunshot victims, many of whom are young men. And I said, Father Boyle, what am I going to do if they take away this program? What are the things that you think if I have limited resources, how should I, target these young men? What can I offer them if they take away this program? And he said, son, you're already giving them the most important thing that you can give them. You're telling them that you believe in them.